Best avoid any open flames around this lot.
Impressive. A barrel-filling machine for the oil, I believe.
From somewhere deep within the inner workings of the machine comes an irregular clanking sound, then a weak gurgle. Inoperable, it seems. The machine churns into life. Gears rotate and pistons hiss from somewhere within its metal housing. It settles into a slow metallic chug, ready for the next lever, perhaps. The machine churns into life. Gears rotate and it settles into a slow metallic chug. The machine churns into life. The machine rattles, grinds and hisses for a protracted moment, building in intensity. Then settles down into a steady mechanical thrum, functional by the sound of it.
It's working!
Your footsteps fall into a heavy rhythm, like a pickaxe striking stone. A dozen pickaxes working in labored unison. Your hands feel empty. Why isn't there a pickaxe in them, joining the crew? The steady rhythm of the pickaxes is drowned out by a sonorous growl. There's no hint of life anywhere, only the noise, only the heat. A hot breath spills across your shoulders from high above. In that heat is a memory, a dwarf yearning to dig, unable to stop. The archaeologist led his crew for months, digging for a beast's bones. His empress needed them to forge a set of armor. A single sharp claw pierces your soul and twists. Something jagged fills your hand, a potent rune of fire.
This small token is a promise of greater things to come. Bind the armor set together once more, and be rewarded. You must wander far to find more of the armor. Travel to the Nameless Land, and follow the symbols of the dragon worshippers.
As the voice fades from your ears, a sigil appears in the air above you, a flaming arrowhead. The armor you bear surges with a cold pulse in response, seeking your attention.
After all this time, I never thought I'd walk our halls again. It is immaculate. There is no trace of the filth that has infected this world. What a way to die, down here in this darkness. Poor soul. Rallic, the first of the seven. He was as bullish as Vrogir, in his own way. Lord Duna, short and proud. And you passed those traits on to your people. Oh, the poor creatures.
Tis worshipped by my people.
Blessed Solstice, an elegant god for our elegant people.
Ah, Lady Santezza. You were the only one of the seven that could take a joke. Lord Vrogir, a champion of martial challenges. Less so of mental challenges. Lady Amadia. Well, that wasn't right. Rallic, the first of the seven. He was as bullish as Vrogir, in his own way.
The curious sculpture comes alive as you reach out to touch it. It thrums with power and throws flickering, dancing shadows against the walls. The carving is covered in eternal glyphs. They surround a gently glowing stone that makes you think of the night sky rolled into a ball. You read, "Our first lords babes with power glowed, our seconds born in blood that flowed. Our thirds young to the wind return, our fourths to glowing flames adjourn." Our fifth lord's cubs with minds were blessed. Our sixths had brawn beyond the rest. Our seventh's brood spread from earth to glen, and thus no king shall rise again. You step away from the pillar, your mind racing.
No king shall rise again? What happened here? This isn't the Veil, but the technology looks curiously familiar. Lord Vrogir, a champion of... Ah, Lady Santedza. You were the only one of the 7 that could take a joke. Lady Amadia. I never would have imagined we would be quite so... close. This isn't the Veil, but the technology looks curiously
I've never seen anything
familiar.
like this before.
Blessed Solstice. An elegant
Duna,
god for
the
our
stoutest
elegant...
of the 7. No wonder the dwarves pray to him. Tyrsendilius. Well, that wasn't right.
Lady Amadia. I never would have imagined we would be quite so... close. Lord Vrogir, a champion of martial challenges, less so of mental challenges.
The sculpture is covered in eternal glitter. Something shifts within the sculpture, and you're knocked back by...
Lady Amadia. I never would have imagined we would be quite so... close. Oh, the poor creatures.
The sculpture is covered. You read, "Our first lord's babes with power glowed, our seconds born in blood, our fifth lord's cubs with minds were blessed, our seventh's brood spread from earth to... You step away.
Blessed Solstice. An elegant god for our elegant people.
Ah, Lady Santedza. Lord Vrogir, a champion of martial challenges. Ralik, the first of the 7. He was as bullish as Vrogir in his own... That's it! We're through! It is still active, even after all these years. This is altogether too familiar.
As the creature crawls from the sarcophagus, you hear a gasp of breath. Fane steps forward, never taking his eyes off her.
I must speak to her. It is vital. Please, stand aside.
You hear a gasp from the creature as Fane steps forward. It speaks in a hissing, clicking language that seems both completely alien and somewhat familiar. Fane raises his head and responds in the same jolting, clicking tongue. He seems to be pleading with the creature, his hands outstretched. The creature looks down at him and shrieks in rage. Her gestures are quick, strong, and violent. Whatever she said, it seems to have devastated your friend. The verbal barrage continues, but something changes within Fane. He looks up and golden light pours from his skull. When he speaks next, you understand every word, but you're not sure the words are his own.
Aetera, I had hoped to see you turn to dust in this tomb. Alone, forgotten, with only your secrets for comfort.
Lady Amadia? You possess him. Have you fallen so far that you seek shelter within that? Does your vessel even know what you did? The war you started, the greed and avarice that saw you betray the Eternals?
The glow fades, and Fane seems to return to himself. He staggers slightly, exhausted by everything that's happened. The creature turns away from him and, panting, turns to you. The creature looks down from its perch, trembling. It crawled out of that sarcophagus as if it had forgotten how to move its limbs. It turns to you, and you see its face is covered by an intricate mask. From behind its unmoving lips, you hear a noise. It starts as a groaning, croaking chatter, but slowly becomes more distinct. It's speaking.
Mais Saravel te de larentu, Chamery?
The stream of noise cuts off abruptly. After a moment, you hear a jolting, lurching voice.
It wears the face of Zol Stissa, but speaks the tongue of beasts. How cruel. I suspected the Seven Lords won the war after they locked me here, but seeing their faces on dumb creatures, a depressing confirmation. Gods? What is this senseless braying? The Seven Lords were Eternals, just as I am.
Deep within your soul, you feel your god stirring at the sound of the voice. You can feel its anger and fear swelling inside you. The creature leans forward to get a better look at you, clucking and tutting under her breath.
It seems to be a simple form at its core, a source vat. A walking, unfortunately talking, source vat. Fascinating. I wonder how to extract the source from the vessel without...
She pulls back suddenly, recoiling in horror.
It is rotting. Almost imperceptibly, but it decays before my eyes. It must have no more than a century or two left.
The god within you reacts. Her emotions a cocktail of fury and fear. You hear her voice, demanding that you give her control, demanding your body obey her will.
Aetera, you worm. An eternity locked away was too good for you. I should have seen you ground to dust and fed to the wind. Your heresies deserve nothing less.
The figure recoils, as if struck.
Zol Stissa? What happened to you? Did you truly fall so far?
Silence! It is your king that has fallen. He and all the other eternal cowards were flung into the void. And the power you were too scared to hunt has made me a god.
And yet here you stand, small, weak, decaying. I will not even need the Aeteran to grind you into the dust.
You feel your god freeze at the mention of this Aeteran, a cold terror settling in your chest.
Where is it?
Ha! Of course you never found it. You always lacked imagination, my lady. I hid it in these very caves, although I can feel its distance now. Someone has uncovered it. Perhaps they intend to flay the godliness from you. No matter. Given your pathetic state, it is mine to collect at my leisure. As for that monstrosity you have made your shell, it was designed to die, and I think it is time that design were fulfilled. Do not worry. The source shall not be wasted. It will carry me from this tomb. It will bring me freedom at last.